Ever wondered what makes an island dangerous? Is it the treacherous terrain, deadly wildlife, or something else entirely? In the heart of the Bay of Bengal, part of the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago in India, lies an island notorious for its danger. This island is not feared for its natural features, which consist of lush forests and sandy beaches, but rather for its inhabitants. This is North Sentinel Island, home to the Sentinelese tribe. The Sentinelese are among the few remaining uncontacted peoples in the world, having lived in isolation on their island for an estimated 60,000 years. Yes, you heard it right, 60,000 years. Imagine being cut off from the rest of the world for such an immense span of time. This isolation has allowed the Sentinelese to maintain a way of life unchanged by modern influences, but it also means they are extremely hostile to outsiders. This hostility is not without reason. Over the years, the Sentinelese have defended their island from intruders with a ferocity that has led to several violent incidents. It's not a simple case of fear of the unknown, it's a fight for survival. Their lack of exposure to the outside world means they have no immunity to common diseases, which could prove devastating, even fatal, should they come into contact with outsiders. The Indian government, recognizing the potential consequences of such contact, has implemented strict regulations prohibiting any form of contact or approach to the island. These regulations aim to preserve the Sentinelese's way of life and protect them from external threats. Despite the clear danger, North Sentinel Island continues to draw the curiosity and fascination of anthropologists, journalists, and adventurers. Yet the island remains off limits, its inhabitants safe in their isolation, and its dangers well known. So it's not the island itself that's dangerous, but the inhabitants who fiercely guard their isolation. North Sentinel Island serves as a stark reminder of the importance of respecting the autonomy and isolation of Indigenous peoples, and the need to preserve their unique ways of life. Imagine living in a world untouched by modern civilization for over 60,000 years. This is the reality for the Sentinelese tribe, the last uncontacted people on Earth. They reside on North Sentinel Island, a speck of land in the Bay of Bengal, part of the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago in India. The Sentinelese have a history that is as fascinating as it is mysterious. Living in complete isolation for tens of thousands of years, they have developed a unique culture, way of life, and a set of survival skills that have allowed them to thrive in their isolated environment. Their survival techniques are as primitive as they are effective. Hunting, gathering, and fishing with tools made from materials found on their island. Their society is organized with clear roles and responsibilities for men, women, and children. Despite their lack of modern technologies, they have managed to sustain their population over the millennia, demonstrating the resilience of their way of life. But what makes the Sentinelese particularly infamous is not just their isolation, but their unyielding hostility towards outsiders. They fiercely guard their island and their way of life against intrusion. There have been numerous incidents where they have attacked and even killed intruders who dared to set foot on their land. Their aggression is not born out of inherent cruelty, but rather a fierce determination to preserve their way of life and protect their people from outside threats. This hostility has deterred many from attempting to make contact with the Sentinelese, and the Indian government has even put in place strict regulations prohibiting any approach to the island. As a result, much of what we know about the Sentinelese is based on observation from a distance and the accounts of the few who have survived encounters with them. Their fierce determination to protect their way of life is both admirable and intimidating. The Sentinelese stand as a stark reminder of the resilience of humanity and the lengths we are willing to go to preserve our way of life. Contacting an uncontacted tribe isn't just dangerous for the intruders, but for the tribe itself. When we talk about the dangers of contact, we're not just talking about the potential threats to those who dare to venture onto North Sentinel Island. Rather, the true peril lies in the potential consequences for the Sentinelese themselves. Consider this. The Sentinelese have lived in isolation for an estimated 60,000 years. In that time, they've been shielded from the common diseases that the rest of the world has faced and overcome. In essence, they've evolved in a bubble, untouched by the pathogens that have shaped and tested the immune systems of every other human population on the planet. Now imagine what could happen if an outsider carrying a seemingly harmless common cold or flu virus were to set foot on North Sentinel Island. To us, these illnesses are usually nothing more than inconvenient, but to the Sentinelese, they could be deadly. Their immune systems have not had the chance to build defenses against these diseases, and as a result, an outbreak could be catastrophic, potentially wiping out the entire tribe. Recognizing the very real threat that contact poses to the Sentinelese, the Indian government has taken steps to protect them. Strict regulations have been put in place that prohibit any form of contact or approach to the island. These laws not only protect the Sentinelese from potential harm, but they also serve to uphold their autonomy and their right to live as they choose, free from outside influence. It's a delicate balance, preserving the rights of an indigenous tribe while also acknowledging our natural curiosity about their way of life. But the potential cost of upsetting that balance is far too high. As we consider the dangers of contact, we must remember that the Sentinelese have thrived for thousands of years without our intervention. Their survival is a testament to their resilience and adaptability. Sometimes, the best way to respect and protect a culture is to leave it alone. North Sentinel Island and its inhabitants serve as a stark reminder of this truth. Despite the dangers and regulations, there have been several attempts to reach the Sentinelese. The annals of history are filled with stories of courageous, or perhaps foolhardy, individuals who dared to bridge the gap between the known world and the Sentinelese. Anthropologists, journalists, adventurers alike, all drawn to the allure of the unknown, have tried and failed to make contact with this fiercely independent tribe. Take, for instance, the story of the National Geographic documentary team in the late 70s. Equipped with gifts of coconuts and a miniature plastic car, they approached the island, hoping for a peaceful encounter. Instead, they were met with a shower of arrows, one of which struck the director in the thigh. The Sentinelese made their message quite clear: outsiders are not welcome. Then there was the case of the two fishermen in the early 2000s. Straying too close to the island, their boat drifted ashore while they slept. The subsequent discovery of their bodies, pierced with arrows and left on the beach, served as a chilling reminder of the tribe's hostility. Even more recently, an American missionary, John Allen Chow, set out to bring Christianity to the Sentinelese. Despite warnings from friends and the Indian government, Chow approached the island in 2018. He never returned, his fate sealed by the tribe's unwavering stance against intruders. Each of these stories underscores the perilous nature of any attempt to contact the Sentinelese. They also highlight the tribe's unwavering resolve to maintain their isolation, a resolve that has remained unbroken for an estimated 60,000 years. This is not a challenge to be taken lightly, nor a warning to be ignored. The Sentinelese are a testament to the enduring power of autonomy and the right of indigenous peoples to preserve their way of life, untouched by the modern world. And so, North Sentinel Island remains a forbidden land, off limits to the outside world. North Sentinel Island is not just a danger zone, it's also a lesson for the rest of the world. In the heart of the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island stands as a testament to the resilience and tenacity of human life. Home to the Sentinelese, one of the world's last uncontacted tribes, the island serves as a reminder of the importance of respecting the autonomy and isolation of indigenous peoples. The Sentinelese have thrived in isolation for over 60,000 years, developing a unique culture and way of life that remains largely untouched by the modern world. Their hostility towards outsiders, while often perceived as dangerous, is in fact a protective mechanism, safeguarding their community from external influences and potential threats such as disease. This hostile stance has earned North Sentinel Island its reputation as one of the world's most dangerous islands. However, it also underscores the need to respect the boundaries of indigenous peoples and to understand the potential harm that can be caused by unwarranted intrusion. The Indian government's decision to prohibit any form of contact or approach to the island is a commendable one. This not only protects the Sentinelese from potential harm, but it also acknowledges and respects their desire to remain isolated. The case of North Sentinel Island serves as a stark reminder of the importance of preserving indigenous cultures and ways of life. In an era where globalization threatens the survival of indigenous cultures, the island stands as a symbol of resistance and endurance. It teaches us that every culture, no matter how isolated or different, has a right to exist and thrive in its own terms. It's easy to label North Sentinel Island as merely a danger zone, but in doing so, we overlook the valuable lessons it offers. This isolated island and its inhabitants urge us to reflect on our own actions, challenging us to respect and protect cultural diversity in all its forms. Perhaps the most dangerous island in the world is also the most instructive, showing us the importance of respecting boundaries and protecting cultures.